Central to the melodic and harmonic components of the Western music system is the chromatic scale, a collection of 12 musical pitches called notes. You could think of the 12 notes of the chromatic scale as being like the musical alphabet. Just like we write lines of literature with the English alphabet, we use the musical alphabet, the chromatic scale, to write our melodies and build our chords. As hard as it may be to believe, every single melody and chord you've ever heard has drawn from just this collection of 12 basic notes. We give a name to each of these notes so that we can identify them easily. Firstly, let's take a look at 3 musical symbols which are used to describe the 12 notes of the chromatic scale: natural, sharp, and flat. Of the 12 notes of the chromatic scale, there are 7 that we call natural notes. We'll look at those first. The natural notes of the chromatic scale are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. After the note G, you would arrive back at A again. We could write them as A natural, B natural, C natural, etc. But if we just write the letter name without the natural sign, the natural is implied. If you look at a piano keyboard, all the white keys are the natural notes. For an example of a natural note on your guitar fretboard, play the 5th fret on your E string. That's the natural note A. Now if you play the 7th fret on your E string, that's the natural note B. Now let's deal with the sharp notes. In music, the word sharp denotes the raising of a pitch's frequency. In other words, when a sound gets higher pitched, you could say that it's getting sharper. As a practical example, if we play the note A on our E string's 5th fret, and then play the note on the 6th fret, we can hear how the second note sounds higher or sharper than the note A on the 5th fret. The name of the note on your E string's 6th fret is A sharp. In the Western theory of music, there is a sharp note after each of the natural notes except after B and after E, like so. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, and G sharp. After the note G sharp, you would arrive back at the note A again. This is easy to visualize if you look at a piano keyboard. The black keys on a piano are designated to the sharp notes. Now, if we count the natural and the sharp notes together, we already have the 12 notes of the chromatic scale. So you're probably wondering how the flat notes fit into the picture. In music, the word flat denotes the lowering of a pitch's frequency. In other words, just the opposite of what the word sharp means. Once again, let's take a practical example so that you can hear this in action. If we play the natural note B again on the E string's 7th fret, and then play the note on the E string's 6th fret, you should be able to hear that the second note sounds lower or flatter than the note B on the 7th fret. The name of the note on the E string's 6th fret is B flat. Now here comes the curveball, because we just said that the note on your E string's 6th fret was A sharp. So why are we now calling it B flat? You see, the sharp notes also have a flat name, like so. A sharp can also be called B flat, C sharp can also be called D flat, D sharp can also be called E flat, F sharp can also be called G flat, and G sharp can also be called A flat. This is a point that often confuses beginner musicians. In music theory, these notes that can go by 2 names are known as enharmonic equivalents. So the notes of the chromatic scale could be written either with natural notes and sharp notes as before, or it can be written with natural notes and flat notes like this. You'd never see sharp notes and flat notes together. You'd pick either sharps or flats to represent the enharmonic equivalents. Now, a very important point is that even though these enharmonic equivalent notes go by 2 names, they share the same pitch. In other words, A sharp and B flat sound exactly the same. Once again, if we play the note on the E string's 6th fret, we can hear that it has 1 pitch, even though it has 2 names. A great way to visualize these enharmonic equivalent notes is to look at the piano keyboard again. Notice that all the black keys are the sharp and flat notes, and they fall in between the natural notes. Now, all of the 12 notes of the chromatic scale can be played on every string of your guitar's fretboard, and it's really easy to do once you know how. I've put together a short PDF that shows you how to do just this, which you can download at the end of this section. Next, we're going to apply what we've just learned in practice by writing out the natural, sharp, and flat symbols, as well as the 12 notes of the chromatic scale with its enharmonic equivalents.